Good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I can't sleep anymore, and I woke up dreaming about arithmetic sequences. So I thought I would just get up and do my video on arithmetic sequences for you, since I was already dreaming about them and doing problems over and over in my head on arithmetic sequences. It's part of being a math teacher, I guess. So we're going to look at how we can use a formula to predict arithmetic sequences. Hopefully you remember from before, arithmetic sequence is when a pattern of numbers increases or decreases by the same number over and over again. So let's look at our first example here. I can clearly see that these are increasing. So the question is, are they increasing by the same amount? So I'm going to look at what happens to 9 to equal 14. And hopefully know if we add 5 to 9, we get 14. And if it's arithmetic sequence, I should be adding 5 each time. 14 plus 5 is 19. So far, so good. 19 plus 5 is 24. So this is my first term, second term, third term, fourth term. If I wanted to find the fifth term, I would just add 5 here, and my fifth term would be 29. So clearly you can see each number we're adding by 5. So therefore it's arithmetic. So now here comes the formula part. If I know this term, we call the first term a sub 1. We start with, that's the first term you start with. And then after that, we take that number and add 5. So in this case, I would take a sub 1, which is my 9, and I add my 5, and that would give me 14. And then I would take this term and add 5, and that would give me 19. Okay? So when we're doing arithmetic sequences, we always have to know what it's going up by, and we talked about this in our video last night. It's going up by 5, so that's called the common difference. And so we'll say that's 5. And we say that we use, for common difference, we use the variable d. So we know d is increasing by 5 each time. Okay? So if I have my first term, I could figure out the previous terms by adding 5 to each progressive term, right? So if I know I begin with 9, I add 5, I get the next one, I add 5, I get the next one, and so on. Okay? So these terms are also indicated by the other n. So if I have n, if I'm talking about n is 1, I'm talking about the first term. If I'm talking n equals 2, I'm talking about the second term. If I'm talking about n equals 3, that's the third term. So n is the term that we're talking about. Okay? So in order to get the equation of the arithmetic sequence, we say a sub n. So this means the arithmetic sequence is a, and n is the term we're trying to find. Okay? So if I wanted to try the 25th term, I'd have a sub 25, because I'm trying to find the 25th term. So in order to find that, we have to know our first term. That's a sub 1. That's this one right here. Okay? Because I have to know where I'm starting from, because I'm going to add 5 to each time. Okay? So if you think about that, each one of these, we're adding 5 to it, right? So we're going to add 5. So that's your common difference, right? So 9 plus 5, and then we go 14 plus 5, 15 plus 5, 16 plus 5, okay? So then, once we have the common difference, we're going to multiply that by n minus 1. And you might say, why are we doing that? Well, this is the term minus 1, which means the previous term, right? So if this is the second term, I would have to subtract 1 to give me this one, because I got to add 5 to that to give me this one. If I'm talking my third term, I want to subtract 1, which would put me to my second term, and add 5, and then that would give me my third term. If I was talking about my fourth term, in order to find the fourth term, I have to know the third term. So I'm going to subtract 1, which tells me it's the second term, add 5, and that will give me the third term. I don't know if that made any sense. But n minus 1 means we're trying to find that term, but we have to find the one before it before we can find that one. Because I have to know this number before I can know that's 24. I have to know this number before I know this is 29. Okay? So let's just say we want to find the 10th term. So you could just keep adding this up 5 times. Or I can use my handy dandy equation here. So if I want to find the 10th term, I do a sub 10, which means I'm trying to find the 10th term. I start with a sub 1, which is your first term, which is 9. That's a funny looking 9. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. My 9s look funny. Alright, then we're going to take that and add the common difference to it, which we can clearly see is 5. And then we have to, though, use that 5 with the term before it. So n is 25. I'm trying to find the 25th term, but I have to subtract 1 to get to it, right? Because I got to know the one previous. So then it's just a matter of math. So I know this is going to be 9 plus 5, and then 25 minus 1 is 24. So then this is going to be 9 plus, let's see, what is that, 2, 120? So my 25th term, or my 10th term, hello, is 129. Okay? Now you could keep adding 5 to get there, or we can use our little equation here. Okay? So a sub 1 is the first term, d is your common difference, and then you have to subtract 1 from the term you're trying to find. So let's look at this example down here. This is a sub 1. Okay? These are actually going down, even though they look like they're going up. So what can I add or subtract to 7 to give you 9? Well, if I do minus 2, negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9. Negative 9 minus 2 is 11. Negative 11 minus 2 is negative 13. And if I wanted to keep going, this would give me more and more and more, right? So this is my first term, second term, third term, fourth term, and so on. So I know my common difference is negative 2, because it's going down by 2. I know my first term is negative 7. And I want you to find the 20th term. So then it's just a matter of plugging in. Okay? So let's see if you can do that. Use this up here. Plug in your variables. And see if you can figure out what a sub 20 is. Go back to your example if you're having trouble. Here we had our a sub 1. Here we had our common difference, and we wanted the 25th term, so we subtracted 1. So give that a go, and then we'll do a little more practice in class tomorrow. I hope you slept better than me last night.